Hi everybody, welcome to this week's geography lesson. Make sure that you have got a whiteboard or a pen and paper, whatever you're using to write things down on, because I'll be asking you things as we go along. Okay. We're going to start off by recapping the things that we learned in last week's lesson. So I'm going to read this piece of text and I'm going to stop at each set of red words, and I want you to decide which word needs to go in those spaces. Okay. Trade has a positive or negative impact on harbour towns. So does it have a good, a positive, or a bad, a negative impact on harbour towns? Which one do you think? Shout it out. Fantastic. It has a positive impact on harbour towns. It's good for them. This is because it brings in illness or money. Which one of those things do you think it brings in? Does it bring illness or does it bring in money for the town? Fantastic, it brings in money. So trade has a positive impact on harbour towns. This is because it brings in money and jobs or ships. This might be a little tricky one that confuses you. Which one do you think it is? The answer is jobs. Ships do come into the harbour, but it's the jobs that are provided that help the people that live in the town. Trade also allows people to get products which can or cannot be made or grown in their own country. So what does it help people do? Does it bring in things that can be made in their country or things that can't be made in their country? Fantastic. It brings in things that cannot be made in their country. So I'm just going to read this paragraph again. Trade has a positive impact on harbour towns. This is because it brings in money and jobs for the people who live there. Trade also allows people to get products which cannot be grown in their own country. Well done, everybody. Great to see how much we were listening last week. Okay, the next thing that we're going to do for today's lesson, we're going to need to also recap what we know about towns. So what I would like you to do on the piece of paper or whiteboard, whatever you've got in front of you, is make a mind map like mine that you can see about towns. And I want you to include different things that you know about towns. Okay, I have put some clues on here to help you. But what I want you to do for now is pause the video and make a mind map about towns, and we'll run through the clues afterwards in case you got stuck. So we've got towns are bigger than, smaller than. Some towns near Sheffield are called. Can you remember what any of those were called? They have something roads, they have something houses or buildings, they have something fields, and then maybe mention what facilities they've got, like a train station, places of worship, schools, parks, what things the towns have in them. Pause your video, make your mind map, and then we'll talk about what each of those missing things are. Okay, hopefully you've got a really fantastic mind map in front of you now. I can't wait to see those when you send them into the class email. So let's start over here. Towns are bigger than what? What are towns bigger than? Who can remember? They are bigger than villages. Well done if you got that one. And if towns are bigger than villages, they are also smaller than what other type of settlement? Fantastic. Cities. Well done if you got that. So towns are bigger than villages and they're smaller than cities. Let's move up to here. They have roads. Do they have many roads or few roads? That's a bit of a clue to help you. They have many roads in a town. Well done if you got that one right. They have many or few houses and buildings. They have many. Towns are the medium-sized settlement, aren't they? They're bigger than villages but smaller than cities, so they have got lots of houses and buildings. And then the last one, they have fields. Do they have many or few fields? They have few fields because they are more built up areas. Villages have lots of fields because they tend to have farmland, but towns don't have as many fields. Let's move over to this next one. Some towns near Sheffield are called. Now, these are going to be the tricky ones. Wonder if you can remember any of the names of the towns that are near Sheffield. Maybe whilst you were making your mind map, you had a little Google to see yourself what towns are near Sheffield. So, we have got Barnsley, Rotherham and Stocksbridge. Those are the three that we've learnt about, but you might know some more. I'm curious to see if anybody's got anything different on their mind map. So the towns that are near Sheffield are Barnsley, Rotherham and Stocksbridge. And then what facilities and things do we have in a town? I've already got a few to help you. Could you think of any more? I've got a train station, I've got schools and I've got parks. I've also got places of worship, and I was thinking a bit more specifically than that. What places of worship do we have in towns? Can anybody remember? Well done, they have churches and they also have mosques. And they might have other types of places of worship as well, but those are just the ones that we talked about in the last lesson that we did on towns before Christmas. So other things that they might have, they have bus stations. Well done if you got that one correct. They have shops. Well done if you got that one. And they also have supermarkets. Okay. As you can see on this slide, I have got a couple of maps of some different places. So this is of Barnsley, which we've already heard of. It's a town that's near Sheffield. And then this place is called Whitby. What are the yellow lines? We've looked at maps quite a few times now, so hopefully we can all get this right. What are the yellow lines? Well done, they are the main roads. What are the white lines? These ones. Fantastic, they are other roads. What are the grey parts? You can see that Barnsley's got a really big chunk of grey parts and only a few chunks of different coloured parts. Whitby's got more of a different colour, but it's got mostly grey parts as well. What are the grey parts on the map? Fantastic, they are buildings. What are the blue parts? The blue parts are the water. So as you can see on this map here of Barnsley, we've got a long line of water. That's probably a river. And we've got like a chunk there, so maybe that's a lake. And then we've got a big bit of blue here and a river there as well. I wonder if anybody knows what they think this big bit of blue here might be. It's the sea, well done. So we've got the sea on this one. And there is the mouth of the river leading into the sea. What are the pale yellow parts? So we've not got any on this bit, but we've got some here. What's that pale yellow part, do we think? Fantastic, it's beaches. That's the beach there, that yellow part, just like the sand. And the green parts last, the green parts, what are they? Amazing, well done. They are fields and forests. They are grass areas, areas of grass. So you can see on this one there are more of those than there are on this one. That's because Whitby is a place on the coast. So we're going to play a quick game of Spot the Difference. I'm looking at the two of my maps. We know what all of these different things are on the maps now, what the yellow lines are, what the white lines are. I want you to write down as many things as you can see that are similar between the two map pictures and things that are different. And I want you to write them all down on your piece of paper in front of you. You might want to pause the video to give yourself some time to do that before we run through what things you might have noticed. You might be saying they've both got roads. They are similar because they both have roads. They are different because there is no sea on this picture, but there is sea on this picture. Something like that. Pause the video. Write down as many as you can. Okay, so hopefully you've got a nice big list of different things that you might have noticed that are similar and different between these two maps. As you can see, Barnsley and Whitby, they both have roads, as I said before. They've both got buildings, those grey areas. They've both got a river. Whitby's got this big river here and Barnsley's got this smaller river up here. They both have some grassy areas, some fields and forests. We've got a few here in Barnsley. We've got quite a few here in Whitby. Barnsley has got more main roads. Look at all those yellow main roads. Whereas Whitby has only got this one main road that runs nearby. It's also got more roads generally than Whitby's got. And it's got more buildings. It's got more grey space than what Whitby has. Now, Whitby has got more of those grassy areas, hasn't it? Those green areas. It's also got a beach, which Barnsley doesn't have. And it's got more blue areas because it is on the coast. So what type of place is Whitby? What type of town is it? Can you remember? It's a harbour town. Well done. Or we could also call it a port. Well done if you remember those words from last week. They're really tricky. Okay, so now that we've talked about some of the things that are the same and different between Barnsley and Whitby, we're going to look at some other things that maybe we can't tell from these maps here. And I've had to zoom in really close to find out more about these two towns. So the first thing I want you to think about is, what does this symbol mean? What do you think this symbol means? Have you seen it before somewhere? Does anybody know what it is? Fantastic, it means train station. It means train station. And as you can see, we've got one here in Whitby and we've got one here in Barnsley. So that means that they both have a train station. Now, whilst we're reading through these slides, I want you to be making notes on your piece of paper in front of you, thinking about, again, the different things that they've got in common, the things that they've got that are similar, and the things that they've got that are different. So you could write down that Whitby and Barnsley have both got a train station. If you need to pause the video whilst you write that down, then you can. If you're ready to keep listening, because you've already got it written down in front of you, then we're going to carry on. So they've both got a train station. The purple dots are where there are churches, so that you can see that both of the towns have a church. So you might want to write down that they both have a church. Barnsley has also got a mosque, that's this red dot here, but Whitby doesn't have a mosque, as you can see from the map. That's something else that you might want to write down. Again, you can pause the video if you want to write that down now. And the purple dot this time is shops and supermarkets. So you can see that they've got shops and supermarkets in both places. Barnsley and Whitby have lots of things in common because they're both towns. So as we were talking about before on our mind map for towns, a town has shops and supermarkets. It has places of worship like a mosque or a church. So they've got these things in common. However, because Whitby is a coastal town, it's on the coast, it has got some things that Barnsley doesn't have. I've got some pictures of these things that Whitby has that Barnsley doesn't have. Let's start with this one. What is this a picture of? Does anybody know? Fantastic, yeah, it's the beach. So Whitby is on the coast, it's got a beach. Barnsley is a town in the middle of Yorkshire, so it's not got a beach nearby, it's not got a sea or water nearby, it's not got a beach. But because Whitby is on the coast, it does have a beach. Does anybody know what this is a picture of? It's got loads of flashing lights, it looks really exciting inside. Maybe you've been to one if you've ever been for a visit to the seaside. It's an amusement centre, so they've got arcade games in there. They might have people doing little rides like the dodgems, different things like that. So that's an amusement. Can you say the word amusement? Amusement. Amusement. Fantastic. Well done, year two. So these are amusements. They've got these things in Whitby, places that you can go to play games. Now we've got this one, we've got a man stood outside of a shop and he's holding some fish and chips. What do we think about this? Yeah, that picture is of a fish and chip shop. They've got loads of those in Whitby. I wonder if anybody can think why they might have loads of them. Yeah, it's because it's near the sea, so it's close to where people would be going for fish anyway, where fishermen come in, so they have lots of fish and chip shops. And it's also got lots of other restaurants as well, not just fish and chip shops. And I'm sure Barnsley has fish and chip shops as well, but there are lots more in a place like Whitby because it's so close to the sea. And then the last thing that they've got are souvenir shops. Can you say the word souvenir? Souvenir. 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 So, a souvenir is a gift that you get when you go on holiday somewhere or for a trip out somewhere. You might want to get a souvenir, something to remind you of your day out at that place. This is a shop where you can buy souvenirs. Now, the reason that we've got all of these things and things like souvenir shops and amusements and lots of fish and chip shops in Whitby is because people go there as tourists. They go there to have a nice day out or to have a holiday. And because they have a lot of people that go there for a holiday, they have places like this, like the amusements, to make people have a nice time so that the holidaymakers, the tourists, can have a nice time. They have the souvenir shops because people want to buy something to remind them of their time there. And they have lots of restaurants because obviously if you've got lots of people, they all need lots of food, okay? So those are some things that Whitby has that Barnsley either doesn't have or doesn't have a lot of. Whitby has got many, many more. So you might want to pause the video again and write those down on your list that you're making of things that Whitby has that Barnsley doesn't have. Okay, so now that we've talked about those two different towns, I'm going to run through your main activities for today. So, this is the 1-star challenge today. You will find the worksheets on the school website. What I would like you to do is you've got a fact file here for Barnsley and Whitby, and I would like you to use the Communicate in Print and put them in the right places. So if you think that Barnsley has got a beach, then you would put beach in that features box. It's up to you if you want to write them out or if you want to cut them out if you've got access to a printer and stick them in the right places. Okay? And then after you've completed that, there's a sentence for you to write. Barnsley and Whitby are similar because they both have, and then you need to choose something that you've put on your fact file that you know both of those places have got. Barnsley and Whitby are different because Whitby has a, but Barnsley doesn't. So choose something that Whitby has got that Barnsley does not have, and you're going to write that in that space there. Again, you can use the Communicate in Print pictures to help you. As you can see, there are 2 of each thing. That's because some of these might go in both places, but you might only have some of them in one, so you decide where they need to go. The 2-star challenge. So the 2-star challenge is similar to the 1-star challenge, but instead of the Communicate in Print pictures and symbols, you've just got the words written. And you might need to write these in more than one place because they're only written once on this sheet, so you can decide where they need to go. And again, you have got those sentences to finish. They are the same sentences, and you just need to choose a word to write in the missing spaces. So what have they both got, and what does Whitby have that Barnsley doesn't have? And finally, the 3-star challenge. The 3-star challenge does not have the word mat or the word bank. You just need to use the things that we've been looking at in this video. Maybe you want to listen to it again to find those features, and you're going to write them on here. When you've completed your fact file, I want you to use these sentence starters to write some sentences about why the 2 towns are similar and why they are different. So Barnsley and Whitby are similar because they both have, and Barnsley and Whitby are different because Whitby has, but, and those are the sentences that I want you to write. So that is our geography lesson today. Remember, you can rewind this to any point that you need to so that you can have another listen or to find out something that maybe you missed the first time, or just to pause it on the slide that you need that tells you about the activities that you are doing. Don't forget, those activities are on the school website for you to download if you want to do it that way, or you can just write it on a piece of paper. It's entirely up to you. Can't wait to see all that work that you'll be sending through, and I look forward to seeing you for geography again next week. Bye everybody.